My fiancé took money out of our shared wedding fund to buy a Tesla without consulting me, and now he's pissed that I'm pissed at him for not supporting his dream of owning his dream car. Posted by you/uneasy/throwaway. So, I, 22F, have been living with my fiancé, Mike, 23M, for 2 years now, which isn't that long, but it's long enough that our finances have become entangled. We've been engaged for a year and a half now and together for just over 4 years. I genuinely love him, and we've both done a lot of growing up over the course of our relationship. Fortunately, we have grown together, not apart. However, neither of us is without flaws. I'm still working on being a more direct communicator, for example. Anyway, the reason for this post: we pool our money into one big family pool and have since we got engaged. I'm better than he is at planning for things and setting up goals, so while we discuss everything and talk as equals and partners, the bulk of the responsibility for research and number crunching falls on me, which I am okay with. We're partners, and we each have our own strengths that we bring into the relationship. The budget is laid out as follows: emergency savings, retirement savings, future housing savings, wedding/honeymoon savings, current housing costs, includes all bills and average food costs, date fund, pet fund, health and fitness fund, transportation/auto costs, and then 2 separate funds for each of us to do with as we wish. I also ended up with a rather sizable inheritance, which he does not have access to. The inheritance is for the future, and I'm working on growing it. It's tied up in investments and not something that we're factoring into plans for our near future. When budgeting, I pretend that it doesn't even exist. I know for a fact that he burns through his fund quickly. He always buys the latest release AAA game, shells out for several MMO subscriptions, and spends the rest in in-game cash shops. I am 100% fine with this. This is not the issue here. The issue is that $1,000 recently went missing from our wedding fund. We're not planning a big wedding, and the wedding will, when all is said and done, cost around $2,000 itself. I was hoping to have another $500 for the honeymoon. By the way, because I'd rather save for a nicer house, I agreed to no engagement ring and just basic $100 wedding bands. I'm the furthest thing from a bridezilla. That's a lot of money to just go missing, especially since we're both still students working somewhat crappy student jobs. I'm actually quite proud of myself for calmly and bluntly asking what happened to that $1,000, and he informed me that he had reserved a Tesla Model 3 for himself. He could tell that I wasn't thrilled about it, and he asked if I was upset. I said, yes, but I don't want to talk about it right now. He asked if I was going to do some research, and I said, yes, and went off into my study area. Things have been a bit weird since then. He's angry with me because he doesn't feel like I'm supporting him, and he says I must not want him to have nice things, like his dream car. Now, I've already secured my first job out of college. On just my salary alone, we would be able to afford the Model 3, but I have strong feelings against living at your means right out of college. I personally feel like you should live as if you're still in college, as far as budgeting goes, for the first few years in order to make big purchases like a house and set yourself up for future success. He had said that he agreed when we set up our goals together and discussed this, and I am hurt and upset that he didn't talk to me about this major purchase before going through with it. He still hasn't gotten any job offers that he's interested in. They didn't offer good enough packages. I think he feels like he needs to get a better offer than me because none of the offers were skimpy, they were on par with or slightly below mine. I feel like he's trying to spend money that we don't have, for himself, without even thinking about how it could impact everything else. That $1,000 could have been shifted from the wedding fund to the moving costs fund, for example. I strongly feel like it could have been better spent. We are both still driving our beaters, but when we relocate for my job, we can easily get rid of them thanks to the amazing public transport that will be available to us. We even talked out the plan for transportation months ago when my offer was still just tentative. Relevant comments. Commenter. Well, the car will not be coming out for a few years, so you'll have enough time to discuss your finances before then. He should have talked to you before reserving one, though. This is a decision that affects both of you. The financially smart decision would be to set a budget you both agree on and then cross-shop if you need a car. I think that coming out of college, a new car really isn't necessary, and there will be plenty of alternatives besides the Tesla hype. If he still insists on buying one, tell him to save up for it with his personal money alone. Ops response. The thing that really gets me is that, assuming my job offer pans out, we will be moving to NYC. I'm not sure where he thinks a Tesla is going to fit into that plan, the plan that he was very much on board with. This just feels like it's coming out of nowhere. Commenter. Then this guy is just a moron. Is this really what you want to deal with for the rest of your life? Ops response. He's never done anything like this before, which is what makes it so hurtful to me. We generally talk to each other about purchases over $500, even if they come from our individual allowances. It's what we've always done. This is just so out of the blue. I'm now wondering if this is just a warm-up for more things like this. I don't know. Commenter 2. First, I believe you can get the deposit back. Model 3 deposits are refundable until the car goes into production. Maybe he thought it was reasonable to put it down just to hold a place in line, then reevaluate later and get a refund if it didn't work out. But this doesn't justify how he went about it, taking the money out of a together fund rather than his fund. He may be resentful that you want a wedding at all and feel like he's sacrificing his dream car for it. Or he might feel that he doesn't have enough control over the finances. But again, you need to talk about it to resolve this, calmly. You sound quite upset about this too, so please try to calm down and listen to his side, even if it does end up being as dumb as wanting a dream car right out of school. Op's response. I wanted to elope, but he wanted a wedding. So I said okay and planned a very frugal but still beautiful wedding for us, one that he didn't want to help with because he hates planning events. I'm upset because the person I thought was on the same page with me wasn't, and I do feel a bit betrayed, but I have listened to him. I sat there quietly the morning after when he laid out how much getting a Tesla, like all of his friends have, means to him. I still don't think it's a good enough reason to take our shared money without talking to me first, especially for a car that he will never let me use. His words, spoken while I was listening to him. Neither of us is more in control of the finances than the other, although I do more of the number crunching. When we pay bills, set goals, make purchases, etc., we talk everything through together. Commenter 3. So, he committed to a $35,000 purchase without consulting you, has no job lined up, so you might end up paying the entire $35,000, and you can't even drive it, even if you pay for it. Is this all correct? Don't walk, run. You don't deserve to be involved, for a lifetime, with a guy who doesn't seek your advice for major purchases, goes behind your back, and breaks your trust. As they say, the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. While this isn't universally true in every case, repeated behavior and patterns are likely to continue unless a person is undergoing significant self-reflection and growth. You are a very sweet fruit for the picking, especially with the mentioned inheritance, so be very careful. Do not ignore the red flags, your reservations, and your concerns about his behavior. Update 1 day later. I don't know how many of you wanted an update, but I'm giving one because I feel like I owe it to this community. You all saved my tail and helped me wake the hell up. I read every single comment that was sent to me, and I took them to heart. I realized that my relationship with Mike is toxic and that I needed to get out of it. I graduate next month and have my dream job secured. I might be in pain right now, but it will pass, and I will build a life for myself. This all moved pretty quickly. This morning, I told Mike that I needed to talk to him, and it was important. We talked about the Tesla and why he would commit to purchasing something, knowing full well that it conflicted with our standing plans and without even talking to me like a partner. He made a comment about not wanting to have to ask permission to buy something as simple and basic as a car, and I reiterated that he doesn't need permission, but he does need to include me in large plans that impact us both. I know I sounded very rigid when it came to money in my post, but I'm really not. I'm just well organized, and I pride myself on that. There is plenty of room for spontaneity, and we both have somewhat generous pools of money to do things with, and I've never questioned any of his purchases before or wanted him to ask permission for anything. I just wanted to be included in the thought process. He told me that he was considering taking out a loan for the car, and we went through all the reasons why that was a bad idea, especially with his massive student debt. He lashed out at me because I'm apparently approaching this from an unreasonable position of privilege, that I don't have any student debt and don't understand how all debt can be good. I don't have debt because I got some great grants and scholarships, and the meager loans I did take out have already been paid off. My education wasn't handed to me, as he was implying. I became emotional during our talk, and I told him that I had to call the wedding off and that I would be moving out because this is an irreconcilable difference. I can't be with someone who doesn't share the same goals that I do, or at the very least, have respect for me as a person. He didn't seem to care and went back to his computer to play one of his games. That was several hours ago, and I've been busy sorting things out. We rent from his dad, and I was never on the lease, so I don't have a landlord to work anything out with since it was all under the table anyway. I still alerted his dad that I'm moving out, and he surprisingly wished me well and told me that he knows I'll be a success someday and he's just glad that he'll be able to say he knew me when. That hit me so hard. I'm finding that I'm more upset about losing his family than I am about losing him, at least right now. My parents are both gone, and his family stepped up majorly and made me feel like I still had a family. Anyway, untangling assets has been very easy since we maintained separate accounts. I just deposited money into his for his spending account, and we're only legitimately joined on the wedding account. I'll get that closed down this week. I'm writing off the $1,000 as a loss and will let him deal with the Tesla mess on his own. Who knows, maybe he will sort everything out, but I didn't want to go along for that ride. I'm writing this from my best friend's place. She's insisting that I stay here with her until I have to leave, and I am so thankful for that. I had never told her everything that was going on with us, and she was horrified that he'd done any of what he did, really. She offered to round up her brothers and cousins and go give him a talking to, which made me laugh. She's sweet, and she's helping me cope with my feelings about everything that happened. I'm feeling sad and down, but I'm also already feeling relieved. Most of my things are already out of the apartment and in my friend's garage. I'll be getting a storage unit this week as well, but she's telling me there's no rush. Gah, sorry for all the rambling. Anyway, thank you all for helping me see the things I didn't want to see, or couldn't see, because everything had just been so normalized. I'm now apartment hunting, so I won't even be restricted in terms of what kind of place I'm looking for, so that's another bright point. I'm a weird mixture of sad, angry, relieved, and excited right now. Thanks, Reddit. Relevant comments. Commenter. Do you care that he didn't care at all that you left? Ops response. I do, but I think I'm still a bit in shock over everything, to be honest. I needed to get out ASAP once everything really hit me. Holy crap, that was toxic. However, I don't think the reality of the breakup itself has hit me yet. I'm glad I have a few months to process, grieve, and move on before needing to move to New York and start that job. Commenter 2. Good for you, girl, so proud of you. You're certainly an inspiration to this girl who doesn't know how to get out of a crappy relationship. Ops response. Honestly, having a bunch of random people who don't know me scream at me like, "What the hell are you freaking doing? Are you a moron?" helped a lot. The outside perspective, and the fact that no one answered the question I was asking, but instead answered the question I was too afraid to ask, gave me the nudge to really breathe, take a step back, and evaluate it all. Then something clicked inside me, and I had to make it happen. I'd probably still be with him had I not gotten these outside views because, honestly, taking some distance, it was obvious. I guess what I'm trying to get at is, you can do it too. I guess we all have to reach our breaking point first, where we say, hey, I deserve better than this, and I'm not going to take this crap. Reddit gave me the courage to do that. You keep doing what you need to, and you'll be out soon enough too. I have faith in you, random internet stranger. You've got this too,